So let's jump into these negatives. And let's just go ahead and tackle these, man. I know that there's going to be some Autel fanboys out there that are really going to dislike what I'm about to tell you guys, but it is what it is. I mean, so let's start off with some obscure things. You can't really hand catch the Evo. You can, but it's not easy. You have to turn off the downward sensors, and it's just not. It's just easier to land the thing. In my personal opinion, I've done it. Okay, guys. Well, we're out here testing. See if I can get it to get up to where it will stop beeping. Beeping at us. Turn it around. Okay, so now it's sensing me. Let me rotate this down. Okay, what I was wanting to know, I was doing a review on the Evo, and I said that one of the things I didn't like about it, one of the complaints that I had, was that you couldn't hand catch it. And I wanted to be accurate on that, so I read a couple of forum posts, and they described how they hand catch it all the time, like it's a normal thing. Okay, all right, so we're going to try and hand catch this with the sensors on. I know that you can hand catch it without the if you turn the sensors off, but what I want to know is, can you hand catch it with the sensors on? And that's what we're about to find out. So it's coming down. It's coming down. I'm going to hold out my hand, and it senses me, see, so it tries to back away, and we're going to keep bringing it down, bringing it down, bringing it down. Whoa, don't go freaking nuts. Okay, don't ever grab it. That's definitely a no-no. Okay, it looks like you can hand catch it, but it's, well, you saw how sketchy that was. Let me turn this drone off so we don't have any accidents. But you saw how sketchy that was. That's not like the safest hand catch. I suppose you can get good at that, right? But I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'd call that the easiest of hand catching, but I guess it can be done. So I just wanted to make sure that I was being accurate on that. So there you have it. I demonstrated it, and so correction in the review kind of thing. And we'll go ahead and bring the air. We'll go ahead and bring the air back. But anyway, this is the first time I've ever tried to fly two drones at once. I saw it being done on the interwebs and whatnot, and I wanted to see if I could do it. And yeah, like hand catching, it can be done, but it's not recommended. So there you go. We got the drone is on the ground. Everything is a-okay. And so now we know more than we did. There you have it. I'm a big fan of hand catching. As a matter of fact, this has never landed on the ground, and I don't even know how long. It has recently, because I've been comparing the two of these together. But for the most part, I'm a big fan of hand catching, because I'm usually out in the middle of nowhere trying to film something in a rugged terrain. So hand catching is usually my only option. So the fact that it's more difficult to hand catch this drone is a problem for me. Also, you cannot hand launch this drone either. So if you want to fly this off a boat or, rough terrain, that kind of thing, it's more difficult to do. So that's a problem if that comes up. Maybe it won't ever come up for you. Maybe that's not a thing for you. But oh, okay. Now the controller. I mentioned the controller before and what I liked about the controller. Generally speaking, this is a good controller. Generally speaking. But I really hate the ergonomics of this controller. Like, I really hate this controller. I think, I mean, overall, I hate the way they designed this controller. The mount for the phone sucks. It just, that's all there is to it. I like that they put the phone on the top as opposed to the bottom, like a DJI controller. Like, I like that. But now, having seen this, I understand why DJI puts the screen on the bottom. Like, that's, you know, more obvious to me now that I've used this. This mount, when compared to what they put out before, this is the controller for the, you know, the XSP here. And this is a tablet mount, phone mount. Of course, this controller, I mean, you can fly multiple days with this. The battery lasts forever. The ergos are awesome. The only bad thing about it is the connections are on the bottom. That's kind of weird. But the mount on this controller is badass. It's great. I've seen some people take the mount off of this controller and put it on here, which is not a good idea. Why would you do that? There's only one screw that holds in the, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that. There's only one screw that holds the weight of whatever you're using for your screen. It sucks. I mean, I'm not going to candy coat it. It sucks. The controller arms, the legs that fold out, you know, they fold in like this, you know, and then when you get, you know, you want to use it, you fold them out, and you're holding the thing, and then constantly, the whole damn time I'm flying, these fold in on me. It's unbelievable. Why would you, like, I don't know why you would make it like that. That's horrible. This door on the USB connection folds down, and then they gave you a right angle cord that goes down. What were you doing? What were you doing with that? That's just, this is just a constant irritation. Just all these little things are constant irritations. The antennas are so thin and fragile feeling, and obviously in reality they're fragile as well because so many people have broken these. The pins fall out, I hear, they crack. I mean, the controllers have been sent in for repair many times because these antennas you have to treat like they're made out of eggshells. It just sucks. And then these two buttons on the bottom, you've probably heard this 100 times. These buttons on the bottom that are programmable, that are not programmable, says it in the instruction manual even. That's one of the things I'm talking about here, how Autel makes these promises, tells you they're going to do this, or they're going to do that, they're going to release this product, they're going to update this, they're going to do this, and they almost always don't. I've been an Autel customer for a long time, and I just wish, if there's one thing I could say to Autel right now, is stop lying. Just stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Don't promise things and then don't deliver. Don't follow through. Nothing pisses somebody off more than you saying these are programmable. It's in the manual, and then they're not programmable. That upsets people. It seems like a little thing, but it's little things like that really piss people off. I mean, the X-Star was promised that the camera comes off of this. You know, you can pull this camera off, and it was promised we were going to have different cameras. We were going to have a FLIR camera. We were going to have this. We were going to have that. None of it ever happened. This drone flew like I mean, it was a piece of crap when I first got this thing. It was a total piece of crap, hardly flyable. They finally got it to where it was good, where it should have been when it was released. And then that's it. That's the last update to ever happen for this. But it's usable now. The controller, anything else about the controller, just the overall, just like everything is just hard. It's just hard to get precision shots. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like a quality device. There's nothing wrong with the quality of it. It's just designed so badly as far as the ergonomics. I don't. So I had personally how I fixed this controller, because it was just driving me bananas. I mean, I ended up getting a lift Thor. You know, if you've never seen this, this is an attachment for this controller that allows you to hold a tablet. And it also fixes this, you know, with the things pushing in. It fixes all the problems with this controller, but completely ruins the portability of the controller. Like, it takes time to put this on this controller. All right, I just wanted to kind of show you guys the lift door and how it kind of fixes all the problems I'm talking about with the controller. This piece right here fits perfectly along this edge right here, so it prevents, you know, the handles. I'm trying to do this with one hand, but prevents the handles from coming in on you when you're holding it like this. And it wraps around the whole bottom, goes around the whole bottom. The orange piece is aluminum. All the black part is like a composite polycarbonate or something like that, and it adds a lanyard, which I really like, and basically it kind of fixes the controller. But as you can see, fixes everything I don't like about the controller. But look how much bigger it is. You know, well, let me get a better angle here. I mean, look how much larger, you know, the controller kind of becomes, you know. So it's not a perfect solution for sure, but this does work really well. It just takes extra time. This fixes everything I don't like about this controller, but this takes time to set up and get on the controller. And then this makes this controller, you know, big like this other controller over here. And then you lose your, you know, totally lose your portability. So what I'm thinking about doing, I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but I'm thinking about mounting the lift door to the controller permanently and getting another case, another hard case, just to carry the controller by itself, to where I can just go, okay, I'm done flying, and put the whole controller in a case, close it up, and go on about my business. That's what I feel I'm going to have to end up doing with this, which is ridiculous. Okay, let's move on from the controller, because that's really one of my biggest gripes. Here's just another kind of touching on things that's been promised and talked about that has not been delivered. We saw the Autel multi-charger for this drone. They've never delivered it. It's hasn't come out. Somebody's figured out how to modify Mavic multi-chargers. Okay guys, here I am charging the Autel Evo, all four flight batteries at once, using a charger for a Mavic. Makes a lot of noise because it's drawing a lot of current, but like 150 some watts, I believe is what it takes to do this. Let me see, does it say on here? Let's see. It just tells you the amperage, 13.5 amp. So basically it outputs about 4.5 amp per battery. So these over here are the Mavic Air batteries, and here's the Evo, and it's also charging the controller at the same time. So it's working this thing pretty hard, but it works really good. And if Autel doesn't want to make a multi-charger, it's super easy to modify one of these to work. So just thought I'd show that to you guys, and that's how we do it right there. To work with the Evo, then that's what I did, and I just can't believe that Autel's just walking away from all that money, all those sales, because there's more and more people doing it, and they're not going to buy the Autel charger when it comes out also. So it's just another thing that's just irritating. It's just another gripe that I have, that they said that they had you're going to have a multi-charger, and they also said that they were going to have a multi-charger for the X-Star. Never happened. This drone still to this day does not have a multi-charger. You have to charge these batteries one at a time to this day. So you either have to buy more than one charger, or charge each one of them individually. The plus side is it doesn't take very long to charge these batteries because the charger is more powerful. So anyway, enough about the charger. That's just one of those things that just irritates me. The next thing is that this was advertised to have YouTube streaming. Some have YouTube streaming. From what I understand, there's been a few people that have gotten that to work. But that was one of the selling points for me personally. I wanted that. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I believe it's because I have multiple channels attached to my main account. So I believe that that's the hang up. There's no way to choose which channel you want to stream to, so it just fails every time. So the waypoint feature of this drone is kind of weak. It's I wouldn't go as far to call it worthless as some of other people have said. I don't think it's worthless. I'm still able to use it, but it has a limitation. And at first it was a ridiculous limitation, but it stops. Every waypoint it comes to, it stops, which I'll show you some footage as I'm talking right now. It'll get to a waypoint stop before it goes on to the next one. And yeah, I mean, come on. This one, the X-Star does waypoint missions better, except that this has a ridiculous limit on waypoints as well. It's like there's a circle on the map and you can't go outside that circle. It's so stupid, and they never did fix that on this. But this one flies smoothly through the waypoint mission. And then I guess to kind of carry on with that along those same lines is the advanced flight modes are kind of weak. They're kind of weak. They've got one that, you know, you can just tap on the screen and it'll fly out that direction. Yay. I mean, that's not really that great. They got an orbit one, whoop-de-doo, and it doesn't, I mean, it's okay, but I think I do better, you know, flying an orbit manually than this thing does flying an orbit. I mean, you know, every once in a while the camera will jerk. So, and then what's the other one? I don't even. Oh, the follow me, the active track. I mean, that works pretty good, but it loses you pretty easily, especially if you go into a shady area or something like that. It loses you. The obstacle avoidance is definitely not as good as DJI. As far as on the rear, you know, the rear obstacle avoidance won't stop the drone from hitting something. It'll warn you if, you know, when you're close. Like 20 feet or something. I don't think it's even 20 feet. It might be less than 20 feet. I can't remember. But anyway, don't rely on it. I just pretend like it's not there. The front obstacle avoidance works excellent. It works awesome. I'm trying to think of anything else that I might have forgot to mention. As far as the way it flies a lot like, see, the X-Star flies more floaty. It's more of a, I guess I would describe the way it flies as a more floaty feeling drone. And this one flies more robotic, more and it makes this drone is very difficult to get really smooth shots, because one of the problems is when you go to turn and make an advanced turn, the gimbal goes the opposite direction, which kind of throws you off. You're like, I'm turning, you know, to the right, and the gimbal is going to the left, and then the gimbal will come back, but I don't know why it does that. It throws you off when you're trying to make a precise, you know, maneuver. It's kind of difficult to get smooth panning shots. Like it's much more hard to get smooth panning shots. There's a lot to like about this drone. The advertised flight time is pretty spot on, pretty close. It flies long, but here's the biggest negative for the drone, and it's kind of a deal breaker for me personally. I would love to hear some people's comments on this, because I haven't figured out a way to overcome this thing for me. This drone's performance and wind, as far as not in its stability. A lot of people get that confused when I talk about this in the forums and on Facebook. I'm not talking about taking this up, hovering in one place, and you're filming something and it's blowing around on the wind. I'm not talking about the gimbal works great for that. The drone will stay steady in the air. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about in Arizona, the weather changes so rapidly and so quickly. You can fly out with almost no wind and be like a half a mile away, turn to come back, and now you're flying into a headwind of not even that much, 10 miles an hour higher, and it can go backwards. It will be flying into a headwind. You'll have the thing full stick forward, and it'll start drifting backwards on you. And you're like, whoa, what the hell? I had to emergency land it one time. That happened. Let me show you some footage of that. I'm going forward, and it's just going back, full stick forward. So then I switch it to Ludicrous Mode, and my bad on that. I never tested the Ludicrous Mode. This was shortly after I got it. I didn't really check to see how it flew in that mode. So it flies poorly in Ludicrous Mode. I don't care what anybody says, this drone does not fly well when it's not like sport mode on a DJI drone. A sport mode on a DJI drone is basically just faster. It turns off the sensors and it flies faster. This one drifts all over the place, and it will either drift and dive way to the, I believe it's to the left. When you go full stick forward in Ludicrous Mode, it goes, and then it starts floating to one side or the other. I believe it's the left. And it drops altitude. It's a handful. It's a handful. It's worse in my opinion than ADI mode, where you're not flying with GPS at all. I mean, I believe it's that bad in my opinion. So that's kind of a deal breaker for me. If there were a way to use the controller to quickly, like one of these buttons down here, to hit up one of these buttons when that goes down and you turn off the sensors, and it gives it more power to the motors, you know, so you can fly with more speed, more RPM. I believe that's the solution. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know this for sure, I'm just going to spit this out here because I think I'm correct. With a DJI drone, when it senses high wind and you're in a headwind and you're not moving, if I'm correct, I think I am correct on this, it will automatically switch to sport mode in order to fight the wind. Tell me if I'm wrong on this, I'm not sure. I think a DJI drone, if it doesn't switch to sport mode, it automatically gives you more power, ramps up the power to the motors, so you can fight the wind. I believe that's the case. This one does nothing when it, as a matter of fact, it doesn't give you wind warnings. It doesn't know it's windy. So you got to be really paying attention to the wind. And I don't know if that's just me in my area more than other places. I am reluctant to fly this when it's windy. And it's windy a lot of the time in the summer here. So that's kind of the thing that I can't figure out a way around. Love to hear some comments in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me on that? Have you found out a way to overcome that? Let me know what you think. Is it just a matter of, you know, for you guys switching to Ludicrous Mode and that's how you solve it? Because for me, that's not a good solution because of how poorly it flies in Ludicrous Mode. at least in high wind anyway. So I'll leave it there. That's my honest review of this drone. It's not meant to be a negative review. It's meant to just be informative, tell you everything that I know about it. I plan to keep this drone because I still need to be able to fly where I want to, when I want to, kind of thing. But I really love the camera on it. That's how I feel about it. And hopefully they, you know, do something with the firmware, give us a feature, do something that makes that better for me. But thanks to everybody for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. On that end.